It's impossible to talk about Reanimal without talking about Little Nightmares. Developer Tarsier's first game since departing the series that put it on the map is so Little Nightmares coded, it's difficult to ignore. This is a game of two spindly-limbed moppets, boy and girl, lost in a hellish, hostile world. Play is structured around reoccurring boss characters and inevitable crescendo pursuits, and Reanimal even shares many of its predecessors' affectations, from the enigmatic opening tease, here the mouldering mouth of a well opening onto a threatening sky, to the way our precocious protagonists return from death huddled together, as if woken from a premonitory dream. But for all its inarguable similarities, Reanimal also feels like a very different mood. For one, the horrors our burgeoning band of children face are no longer filtered through the softening lens of Burton-esque whimsy. This is a bleak, vicious, violent world, and often genuinely disturbing. And beyond its grimier, nastier tone, it's wildly more ambitious and more experimental too. The first big surprise is the voices, an addition that could have easily undermined its sense of haunted isolation. But from the very first line of dialogue, a meek accusatory, "I thought you were dead," Tarsier nails the delivery. And then there's the camera, a restless, shifting thing that sees Tarsier breaking away from the constraints of its beloved side-on perspective to frame its cinematic third-person action, its fog-smothered oceans, its flooded streets, its burnt-out forests and forgotten industry for maximum impact. We begin though on eerie, calm waters. Boy and girl's early rowboat journey guided through the black of night by screaming gulls and the faint red lights of distant buoys. For a while, it seems Tarsier might have completely broken free of structural tradition as we drift freely into the unknown, through crumbling, abyssal caverns and along winding, mine-littered inlets. But soon enough, as the boat runs aground in the shadow of something vast like a concrete fortress, Reanimal falls into a more familiar rhythm. Reanimal's world, too, is a fascinating one. This shattered island, ripped asunder by the ocean, is an unexpectedly contemporary dystopia. Early on, our young siblings find themselves lost amid abandoned industry, desolate rail yards making way for crumbling urban squalor, then forgotten farmland, weather-battered coastlines, and so on. It's a world of car parks and supermarkets, of taxi cabs and school buses that's at once immediately familiar and entirely alien. And while there's the faintest wisp of a narrative of humanity and nature locked in a doomed cycle of corruption perhaps, it's more of a mood piece told through the subtle suggestion of its environmental design rather than a coherent story. As to how Reanimal plays, Tarsier largely prioritises forward momentum here, introducing only the gentlest friction. There are simple puzzles, most often wanting you to find this thing and use it there, as well as basic one-button combat, used sparingly to inject a sudden shock of tension. There's a bit of light platforming and even a bit of driving, but the focus is very much on maintaining pace rather than mechanical escalation. Notably though, progress isn't entirely linear, and the world provides some space to breathe. Occasionally you'll reach an impasse and must explore further afield to find a solution, and each new area is filled with little secrets, half-hidden passageways, mysterious alcoves, for those eager to collect masks, concept art, and other more esoteric things. But Tarsier keeps the reins tight enough that its claustrophobic mood is never allowed to dissipate. even during the handful of more open-ended sailing segments, which mostly serve as a palate cleanser between major areas. All in all, it makes for a perfectly solid, if perhaps unremarkable, mechanical foundation, which might be more concerning if it wasn't for Reanimal's relentless pacing. Tarsier's set-piece work, its meticulous choreography, is often properly astonishing, the studio knowing exactly when to switch from foreboding silence to all-out action. And notably, the combination of tighter controls, sensible checkpointing, and more forgiving fail states means it neatly sidesteps the frequent trial-and-error frustrations of Little Nightmares. And the spectacle of it all, the pure cinema of the shifting camera, ensures it retains a convincing sense of peril even without more frequent game overs. As a purely solo experience, Reanimal works great, your AI-controlled companion picking up the slack when necessary, but it's clear that Tarsier has thought carefully about Reanimal's two-player mode, which adds an interesting layer of friction between players. Reanimal is full of moments built around asynchronous and synchronous actions. You'll spin valves with your partner, hoist each other onto platforms, rescue each other during combat, and perform more elaborate tasks too. Playing solo, all of this is flattened down into something a bit more simplistic. In fact, given how much it contributes to this experience, Tarsier's camera is worth dwelling on for a little longer. There are moments when you're lost at sea, only for it to pull back for a spectacular reveal as vast shapes emerge through the fog. And if atmosphere is what makes good horror, then Reanimal, with its grim world built from stark shadow play and searing stabs of red, its grotesque animation work and its relentlessly oppressive sound design, is killer. This might not be a scary game, but it is full of genuine menace. Despite all of this, though, there is a chance that, by the time you reach its conclusion, 8 or so hours later, you might be feeling just a little bit unfulfilled. Partly this is down to its willfully elusive story, whose enigmatic, intentionally anticlimactic ending feels like it's been designed as much for Reddit theory crafting as it is to provide satisfying narrative resolution. Partly too, it's down to Reanimal's episodic framework, the predictable ebb and flow of events it's borrowed straight from Little Nightmares. Familiarity is, perhaps, the enemy of horror, and, for all Tarsier's elaborate choreography, Reanimal's inarguable thrills feel a little undermined by its adherence to routine. But those are minor concerns in the greater scheme, and there's so much here to adore. Reanimal is a game of phenomenal mood and artistry, and it builds on a familiar foundation in a way that feels like genuinely meaningful evolution. A dark, violent, and grimly compelling journey through a remarkable vision of something like hell. And so, in summary, while it could benefit from being a little more radical, Tarsier's return to horror remains utterly compelling, bleak, nasty, and full of menace. 4 out of 5. Thanks for watching this review of Reanimal. As always, please do give it a like if you enjoyed it and subscribe to Eurogamer for almost daily videos about video games. Goodbye.